MMA Central, huh? A new contender on the block.
The drive-through at Burger King. Can I please get a Whopper Junior with onion rings? Make it a meal so I can get a drink. No, I'm not finished, that's not everything. Can I please get a double Whopper with no cheese? Can I please get a number 2 with a large drink?
Chat, who's with me, yeah? I'm just going to say it right now. I'm not above the idea, yeah, of Khalil being intentionally tainted by the actual drug testing agency to tank this McGregor card, you know? Because is it weird that that's the only fight of substance on the entire card outside of the main event? And he's just tested positive and come clean with all of it immediately. Like, this is what happened. This is what's happened. We're going to get to the bottom of it, though. Watch them get to the bottom of it. But wow, all of a sudden now McGregor, who re-signs in 2 fights, isn't going to have as much negotiation. They constantly try and ruin his cards, you know. They always do that to Conor. And that's not conspiracy theory shit. They always tank his cards. Am I wrong, or they always do that? Every McGregor card I fucking remember for the history of time has been shit when he hasn't had a title on it. Shit. Not everyone was going to buy the pay-per-view for Khalil, but I tell you what, the reason why you buy a pay-per-view is for a night of fights. You don't buy pay-per-views for a fight. Some do, but not as many. You want a night of fights for a pay-per-view, you know? Luka missed again. Yeah, people miss. It's NBA, you know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. They're going to close the gap a little more before the end of this quarter, and then we're going to be fine. UFC 205, he was fighting for a title with 2 belts on the line. It was their first time in Madison Square Garden. Don't bring up biased things. Every other time he's been there, there's been like a Holly Holm fucking co-main event. I mean, we can go through it. Let's find out what the co-main events were in some of these events. So his last fight with Poirier, what was the card? Burns Wonderboy, and then the feature fight was Tuivasa Hardy. The co-main event was Gilbert Burns Wonderboy. At that time, before Burns had fought Chimaev, at that time, Burns versus Wonderboy. Shit. Irene Aldana Yana Santos was on there, and O'Malley Matinho was on the card as well. Shit. Absolute dog shit main card. No value at that time at all. Then we go 257. What was it on there? This might have been the Dan Hooker Chandler one. Chandler Dan Hooker feature fight. Joanne Calderwood versus Jessica Eye. Marina Rodriguez, Amanda Ribas 2 on the main card. Makhmud Muradov, Andrew Sanchez on the main card. Tell me I'm not making this shit up. They always put on shit fights. UFC 264. 246. McGregor Cerrone. What was the co-main event? Holly Holm versus Raquel Pennington. Feature fight. Alexi Olenek versus Maurice Green. 4th fight down. Brian Kelleher versus O'Day Osborne. Main card of a pay-per-view. Tell me they do not want to assist McGregor in any way outside of singly him when it comes to him selling pay-per-views. They do not want to add any help at all. It must be only him so they can have a better chance at having a better renegotiation. Where he can't say, I sold 2 million, I sold this when they put in on these blockbuster cards. They can instead say, no, you sold as little as we possibly let you sell. Minus 15 Mavs. They're going to bring it back. Couple points to change the game. Don't worry. Kyrie will wake up in a second. I think the UFC just knows Conor will sell a lot by himself, so they make the rest of the card cheap. I get that, but I think they're costing it massively. They're costing it. At this point, McGregor doesn't sell by himself. He does, but not as much. Chat, if the card doesn't get a replacement for Hill versus Roundtree, I'm going to say this right now, chat. In heels and fluffed hair, you're 6'4". No, in shoes and fluffed hair, I'm probably 6'5". Either way. I'm going to say this right now. If they find a replacement for Roundtree and that's the card we're looking at for McGregor Chandler, I'm worried about it selling 1 million. I'm going to say it does 1.1 million pay-per-views, but I'm worried about it selling 1 million. I'm like, does it sell 1 million? Does it? Does it do 900K? You know, think about some of these big blockbuster boxing matches, And the amount they sell, you know, like Fury Wilder 3 sold what, 300,000 pay-per-view buys? You never know sometimes. I know he sold a 2 million. The gate and the pay-per-view are different, dude. The gate and the pay-per-view are different. Selling tickets to this is different than watching it on pay-per-view, because this could potentially be the last fight of Conor McGregor's career. I'm not being dumb, dude. I feel like they're nerfing McGregor cards. Israel Adesanya is supposed to be a big star that sells by himself, but every time he fights, they put on the biggest card they possibly can, because they know they've got him on a long contract. So they don't mind putting on these blockbuster fights and building him up. They have no interest in building McGregor up anymore, because they know he's going to dip. He's going to dip at the end of his 2-fight deal if he doesn't get a championship belt. Tyson Fury's become a bum. Okay. Would you be willing to be a main card opener against Los Polos, the guy, the streamer, for a KSI pool card, co-main T1? Co-main event is Tyler 1 versus More Plates, More Dates. The feature fight is Sneeko versus Ice Poseidon. I would be a part of that for sure, yeah. That would be a blockbuster event. Loss is like 5-5. Ah, never mind, then I can't. Chat, you got to understand they will have to sanction it, you know. So they need to find a heavyweight for me. That's something you do have to understand. They're a little bit more, you know, when it comes to heavyweight in boxing, they will let people fight with different weights apart. But when you're both new and you're not as trained, the commission's a little bit more strict on what sort of fights they let happen. So a lot of you guys keep matching me up with people, but at the end of the day, I'm like 6'3.5", 250 pounds. Like, I need someone big. I added a half onto that, by the way, just see if you notice it. But you know what, chat? I reckon I walk around passing for 6'4". I need a picture. You know what, chat? It will be settled when I get a picture of Pereira. We'll see. Israel Gynicus, fucker of dogs. Stop that shit. Fucker of dogs. King of Nigeria. Yeah. I love that. That made me laugh so hard yesterday, dude. We were talking about like back in the days of old warriors, how they used to introduce themselves, and Izzy comes out. Julius Caesar, King of Rome, breaker of chains, Colosseum, Victor. Introducing from parts unknown, Israelius Gynokus, fucker of dogs, king. That is terrifying. It's more terrifying than any other title you can be given. More terrifying, dude. Can we see Carlos Ulberg step in on short notice to face Jamal Hill? Or maybe Magomed Ankalaev if he really wants that title shot? We could see Ulberg step in. That's really bad for Jamal Hill if he does.